I'm going to show you how to make the mummy treat bag out of the Halloween treat bag set from Kreative Kiwi. For this I'm going to be using a 5x7 hoop, a selection of threads, some with matching bobbins, some T-pins, some masking tape, my squizzers and my fabric and batting cut to size. You'll find a link to this design in the video description below. If you would like to win Kreative Kiwi loyalty points to the value of this design, then just keep on watching as details will be given further on in the video. If you're using a magnetic hoop, place your 2 layers of wash-away stabilizer over the frame. Take your top and bottom magnets and place them first, and I just pull lightly on the stabilizer just so that there's no wrinkles, and then snap it in place, and be careful of your fingers because it will bite. And then we're going to do the sides, so just gently pull it out. And your hoop is now ready to use. If you're using a traditional hoop, we're going to start off by placing our 2 layers of wash-away stabilizer over the outer frame. Insert the inside one, and then we're going to pin around the top edge of our hoop, and that's going to prevent our stabilizer from being pulled down between the 2 hoop frames. So take your pin, place your pin on top of the inside hoop, push it through your stabilizer, bring it back round and through the stabilizer again, and that will anchor it. The larger your hoop, the more pins you will use, and you're going to do this on all 4 sides. Load the file Mummy into your machine along with your thread colour for the quilting of the bag, and I'm going with dark green. Pop your hoop into your machine and stitch round number 1, and that's going to give you a placement outline for your batting. Place your batting over the outline and tape it in place. Pop your hoop into your machine and stitch round number 2 to secure it. Trim away the excess batting from around the edge of the stitch line, taking care not to cut your stitches. We're going to place our fabrics for this area, which is the bag. This is the character and this is the bag bit. So turn your hoop over, place your fabric over the outline and tape it in place. Do the same on the front. Load your matching bobbin and thread colour for the quilting into your machine, and then stitch round number 3, and that's going to secure the fabrics and then quilt it. Next, we're going to trim away the excess fabric from around the area where the mummy is. So turn your hoop over and, taking care not to cut your stitches, trim away the fabric around the stitch line. Now do the same on the front. We're now going to place our fabric for the front of the mummy over the outline and secure it in place. Pop your hoop into your machine and stitch round number 4 to secure it. I'm staying with the green so that you can see what I'm doing, but you might want to swap your thread out for a lighter colour for this. Load your matching bobbin and thread colour for the white of the eyes into your machine and then stitch round number 5, and I've loaded white into my machine. Load your matching bobbin and thread colour for the black of the eyes into your machine and then stitch round number 6, and I'm going with black. If you're wondering why I'm using a matching bobbin, I don't want high contrast threads on the eyes because the chances are that the white would show through the black if I used a white bobbin. Load your matching bobbin and thread colour for the colour of his eyes into your machine and then stitch round number 7, and I'm going with blue. We're now going to add our backing fabric for the mummy, so turn your hoop over. When you place your fabric down, if your outline shows through, there's a simple remedy. Take a piece of cutaway stabilizer and either single or double, place it over the outline and then place your fabric on top, secure it in place, and problem solved. So load your thread colour for the mummy into your machine, pop your hoop into your machine and stitch round number 8, and that's going to secure the backing fabric in place. And I'm going with white. Trim away the excess fabric from both back and front of your hoop, taking care not to cut your stitches. And I'm cutting the cutaway stabilizer at the same time. I've had an oops moment. I forgot to add my cord onto this at the beginning in round 1 after the batting placement stitch line, and I would have put it on at this underneath the batting at the same time. So I'm going to do it now. I'm going to take the end, place it in place, and then I'm going to put some sellotape over it, and I'm using sellotape so that it can stitch right through without any hassle. because I don't want the foot getting caught underneath the ribbon. And then I just pull the sellotape off afterwards. So I'm now going to do the same on the other side. I'm just going to bunch that up at the top and keep it under control out the way. And put a little bit of tape over it. Okay. So we're now going to pop our hoop into our machine and stitch round number 9, and that's going to zigzag this top area, and I'm going with white. So before we do the stitching on the bag itself, I'm going to remove the sellotape here, holding this down. I'm just pulling it gently upwards. And I'm going to do the same here, pulling that down. And then I'm just going to trim this off level with the stitches. Load your matching bobbin and thread colour for the satin stitching of the mummy's bandages into your machine, and then stitch round number 11. And I'm going with a very pale grey. We can now free our work from the hoop, but before we do, I'm just going to move my strap out of the way so that I don't cut it off during the process. I'm going to put that down here. Like that. And that's going to protect it. Okay, so we're now going to free our work from the hoop. Turn your hoop over, and taking care not to cut your stitches or anything else underneath your hoop, trim around the edge to free your work from the hoop. And we're going to trim up the raw edges close to the stitch line, taking care not to cut any stitches, ready for the joins in the next hooping. We've now completed our first hooping, and we can set our work aside for the minute, and I'm leaving my tape in position just to keep it out the way, ready for when we add this to the next hooping. This is the second hooping. So hoop and pin your 2 layers of wash away stabilizer. Load your file for the pocket into your machine, and I've chosen the Trick or Treat one, along with your matching bobbin and thread colour for the quilting. Pop your hoop into your machine and stitch round number 1, and that's going to give you a placement outline for your batting. Place your batting over the outline and tape it in place. Pop your hoop into your machine and stitch round number 2 to secure it. Trim away the excess batting from around the edge of the stitch line, taking care not to cut your stitches. So we're now going to add our front fabric over this area here. So place your fabric down. Let's see which one goes better on the front. I think that one. And tape it in place. I'm just putting some tape on the side so that when it quilts it, I don't end up with any fabric wrinkles in the quilting. Okay, so making sure that you've got your matching bobbin and thread colour for the quilting loaded into your machine, you're now going to stitch round number 3, and that's going to secure the fabric in place and then quilt it. And I'm going with dark green. Load your thread colour for the word trick or treat into your machine and then stitch round number 4, and I'm going with glow in the dark orange. Next we're going to add our backing fabric, so turn your hoop over, place your fabric over the outline and tape it in place. Load your matching bobbin and thread colour for the pocket into your machine. Pop your hoop in and then stitch round number 5 to secure your backing fabric in place. And I'm going with dark green. Trim away any excess fabric from both back and front of your hoop, taking care not to cut your stitches. So turn your hoop over. Load your matching bobbin and thread colour for the satin stitching into your machine and then stitch round number 6, and that's going to do the satin stitch here, here and here. And I'm going with dark green. We're now going to add our previous segment to this one, and you want your segment face up and you're going to place it over the top of the other one, just making sure that you line up all the points and corners, and then you're going to tape it in place. And you want your tape to form an X so it's not in the way of the stitch line. We're now going to pop our hoop into our machine and stitch round number 7, and that's going to zigzag down here and join the 2 segments together. Okay, before you go any further, check your join, make sure that you're happy with it. If you're not, unpick the zigzag stitching, reposition your segment, secure it in place, and then stitch round number 7 again. If you are happy with it, we're now going to stitch round number 8, and that's going to zigzag down here and join the 2 segment sides together. Okay, before you go any further, check your join, make sure that you're happy with it. If you're not, unpick the zigzag stitching, reposition your segment, secure it in place, and then stitch round number 7 again. If you are happy with it, we're now going to stitch round number 8, and that's going to zigzag down here and join the 2 segment sides together. Again, check your join, make sure that you're happy with it. If you're not, unpick your zigzag stitching, reposition the segment, secure it in place, and then stitch round number 8 again. If you are happy with it, we're now going to stitch round number 9, and that's going to zigzag along here and join the two bottom edges of the bag together. Okay, again, check your join, make sure that you're happy with it. If you're not, unpick the zigzag stitching, reposition the segment, secure it in place, and then stitch round number 9 again. If you are happy with it, we're now going to stitch round number 10, and that's going to do the satin stitching along the bottom of the bag. So make sure that you've got your matching bobbin and thread colour for that loaded into your machine. And I'm staying with the dark green. We're now going to stitch round number 11, and that's going to do the satin stitching up the right side. And now we're going to stitch round number 12, and that's going to do the satin stitching up the left side here. And that's the stitching finished, so we can now free our work from the hoop. So turn your hoop over, and taking care not to cut your stitches or anything else underneath your hoop, trim around the edge. Okay, so it's competition time. If you would like to win Kreative Kiwi loyalty points to the value of this design, like, subscribe and share this video to support this channel, and then tell me what you're going to be doing for your Halloween celebrations. This competition will close at 6 p.m. Central European Time +2 on Sunday the 6th of October, and a winner will be picked at random from all the valid entries. So be sure to check back and see if it's you. Good luck, and thanks for taking part. Before we go any further, I just want to remove all the excess stabiliser from around the edges. You can do this now or you can do it afterwards, it's entirely your choice. I just want to do it now. So I'm going to take a cotton bud, dip it in some warm water and run it around the edges and the seams. And the next step in the process is to stitch our corners, and that is the only stitching that you're going to do on these. So you're going to push those together so that they lay flat. I think I'm going to push one of the seams over one side and one over the other, and then we're going to stitch along there. You can either use a zigzag stitch or you can use a straight stitch. It's entirely up to you. I'm not going to show that process because you are literally doing a line of stitching. That is it. And then you'll do exactly the same on the other side. Just make sure that if you fold your satin stitching over, that you fold over to the same side on both corners. So I'm going to put the pin in. You can use pins or clips, it's entirely up to you. Do the same on this edge. And then stitch along here. I'm going to go and stitch those, and then I will show you how we finish off. Okay, so there's my two joins. I just zigzagged along it twice so it's nice and strong, and then we can now take all the tape off that's controlling my strap. And then we're going to turn him out the right way. So push him through. Push your corners out. And there is our little treat bag. I hope you enjoyed this stitch along. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to be notified of new videos as soon as they're published. Do pop along to Kreative Kiwi's Facebook group. There's always lots of ideas, help and inspiration there for everybody. And thank you very much for joining me. You'll find a link to this design in the video description below, along with lots of other information such as where I get my supplies and some discount codes for you as well. Take care, and I'll see you next time.